Thanks, Ed. So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs.
2nd April 2025 marked a significant day in trade policy as President Trump signed an executive order introducing a minimum 10% tariff on all U.S. imports, effective 5th April. This move was part of a broader effort to overhaul the global trading system and protect American workers and families. Trump declared this day, Liberation Day, and invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to justify the tariffs. The tariffs were calculated using a reciprocal tariff formula, aiming to balance bilateral trade deficits between the U.S. and its trading partners. The tariffs have sparked controversy, with critics arguing they could lead to higher prices, larger deficits, and greater inequality.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Naresh Bana, and I'm here to share with you the implications of the tariff war on infrastructure projects in general and PPP projects in particular. But before we come to the analysis proper, let me identify the 25 odd risks which are associated with such projects. And first and foremost, as you would appreciate, that funding is most important for any project. That has been impacted. How it is impacted, we'll come to that later. Then there is revenue risk, cost overrun risk, currency and fluctuation of currency risk, interest rate risk, debt servicing risk, equity investment risk, and the risks which are associated with operations and maintenance are generally construction risk, operational efficiency risk, maintenance risk, quality control risk, technology disruption risk, and supply chain risk, which is again, you must be hearing about it a lot. Then we have regulatory risks, which are like change in law or material adverse government action, compliance risk, various approvals and permits risk, policy risk. Then there are association or the partnership risk, and communications breakdown risk, conflict resolution risk, and trust and reputation risk. Then we have economic downturn risk, like recession, which may well be there, and environmental risk, social impact risk, and force majeure risk. Now, there are plethora of risks in addition to these. I have just listed 25. But as we see, the most prominent which have been identified and which have become more complicated are the supply chain disruptions, because of the announcement of tariffs has put the entire supply chain mechanism, which has been set up over decades, it is all in disarray. And with that, the projects which are depending heavily on imported materials or components are going to see delays or cost overruns. And with that, the project as such is likely to suffer. For example, if there is a bridge construction and which requires the bearings to be imported, and if those get delayed, the entire bridge cannot be commissioned, though the cement, steel, and other things may have been procured locally, or a bridge construction must have been in place in time. So there are going to be delays due to the critical components which may not be manufactured in the same geography or in the same country, or being imported, and there are delays involved due to supply chain disruptions. Then material cost itself may get impacted, because in case the energy prices are uh, changed or go up, then the machinery which is used in extracting, let's say, aggregate and production of cement or steel, all the prices are going to go up, and that would all add to the cost of the project, and it may delay due to the supply chain disruptions. The supply chain disruptions are more pronounced at international level rather than localized within the country. So anything which is being transported by sea is likely to be impacted maximum. And then there is financing risk, as I had mentioned in the beginning, that the multilateral institutions are going to take more time in deciding on funding or the structuring of financing for a particular transnational or national project. Overall, the environment is turning risk averse, and even the private equity uh, people are going to hold back their decisions, and they are going to wait for the tariff war to settle down. They are looking for a bit more certainty in the global affairs. There could be political realignment, there could be other implications at geopolitical level, and all that is going to lead to the delays, cost overruns, or disruption as such of the projects. The currency market is again suffering from the uncertainty, and not only the repayment of the loans which are already there with the projects which are in the operations phase, but the fresh borrowings are all going to be impacted, and all the hedging which has been planned may require a relook and replanning. The revenue risk for the projects which are ongoing, in operations mode, or being planned will have to be reassessed, because the tariffs are likely to cause global slowdown of the economies worldwide. And with that, the fare box or the toll plaza or the collection as such, which is being planned for any infrastructure project, the user fee, it may not accrue as per the plan. And that is going to impact the entire profitability or the bankability of the project and the repayment. And the projects may become non-performing assets. So now, what is going to be the impact on projects in Indian context? As I said, overall sentiment of the projects is depressed in India as well, and this turbulence is going to be quite widespread, and some of the fallouts which may manifest themselves would be, firstly, the projects which are relying on imported components or imported material are going to take a hit. Then the project financing is going to be impacted if there are foreign funds or multilateral investment bankers are involved. Then projects, the costs of which may not appear to change in short term, because the steel prices of those countries which are not able to export to USA would like to send it to countries like India. But Indian authorities, to safeguard their domestic industry, will put tariffs. But altogether, it may not lead to increase in steel prices for the projects within India. Same is the case for cement. But the oil which is being imported, though it is not appearing that the oil prices may go up beyond where they are currently, there may be marginal change. But all the three components may not impact the project costs in near term, but medium term there will be impact because the overall scenario is becoming more and more complex. The insurance costs, the comprehensive insurance for the projects as a whole is likely to go up in the whereas the uncertainty is gone up. The due to these uncertainties, repayment or the currency, overall risk profile becoming more complex. The likelihood of disputes increasing is also there, and that may lead to stalling or abandonment of certain projects at certain stage. Some of the suggestions for the stakeholders in India are that a close monitoring of the projects should be immediately taken on. Arrest the delays, arrest the disruptions before they impact the project materially. And there has to be more effort in taking recourse to the alternate means of financing to offset the delays due to foreign investment not coming in. And these could be by relying more on REITs and InvITs and an extensive effort in developing the bond market, the domestic bond market, though there is no likelihood of spike in the prices of steel, cement, and or energy, but the care must be taken so that well in advance the planning can be done in case the price rise does happen and the implications are remedied in time. Then what is most important is to capitalize the opportunity which is now being placed due to this tariff war in front of India, is that we should expedite placing our policy to capitalize the opportunity which is now in front of India in terms of tariff war. Infrastructure development can play a stellar role if we are able to enable our MSME sector to take up more and more small scale PPP projects. Small scale PPP projects can really unleash the wave of infrastructure development in not only tier 1 cities but tier 2 and tier 3 cities where it is needed most. That is going to work as a catalyst to our economy, and it may help us weather the storm which is being caused by these tariff wars. So it is now the right time to focus on our infrastructure development, not only to sustain the growth which is now envisaged, but also to further add to it, because just by bringing in policy support, it can manifest into a huge and humongous effort on part of the entrepreneurs all over the country to develop our infrastructure and thereby boost the economy like never before. With that optimistic note, I thank you for being with me and I'll be soon with you with yet another interesting episode. Till then, namaste and have a nice day.